Hello and welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Mogbe, right here in Lagos.
Sporty greetings to you wherever you are in the world watching us. In London, I'm Austin Okonakpan.
Yes, today is a loaded package. We've got tennis for you because if you remember what happened in 2023 at the US Open, where you have Aryna Sabalenka and Coco Gauff. And of course, Coco Gauff was able to get the better of Aryna Sabalenka. It's happening again. And this time around, is on clay, the clay court. So for the first time, Sabalenka is in the final of the French Open, and she will be meeting the opponent who defeated her at the US Open. Of course, Coco Gauff. Yes, we are having that on Saturday. We'll talk about that on the show. And a beautiful run, or rather the fairy tale run, or maybe Cinderella run of Lois Bosson is finally over. The French 22-year-old, a wild card, got to the semi-final of the French Open. For the first time in 40 years, you're having a wild card getting that far. But she's out. Coco Gauff ensured she's out in 69 minutes. She didn't waste time at all on court. We'll talk on tennis tonight. And also, yes, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, for the first time, they will be facing Russia at the senior level on Friday evening, 6 p.m. Nigerian time, 8 p.m. in Russia. The Super Eagles of Nigeria, they are battle ready for that encounter. International friendly. We'll dwell on that on the show tonight. And also, the Flamingos, they had their opponent. Remember on Tuesday, we talked about the pot they were in. And the group they're in right now happens to be France, Canada, and Samoa. So those are the teams they will be facing at the group stage of the FIFA Under-17 World Cup. So yes, that will also get our attention tonight on the show. And of course, the Basketball African League, Season 5, the BAL, the playoffs in South Africa. The Rivers Hoopers, they're already in South Africa. Their game against, well, yes, US Monastir will be on Saturday. We will talk about that on the show tonight also. So, Austin, it is a loaded package on the show. And, of course, you'll be giving us updates coming from the UEFA Nations League. Spain currently dealing with France.
You know, Cecilia, so much going down, action-packed auto sports. I count on me to let you know what's going on in that game between Spain and France. But it's Cristiano Ronaldo that really got everyone talking after he shot Portugal into the final in that crunchy counter against Germany. He scored his 137th international goal, Cecilia, and he's 40. Look at the lineup, and there's so much to talk about. Can Rivers Hoopers give us something to talk about, to even remind our administrators that, hey, there's basketball waiting for us to give it attention? You know, so that is the only reason why I want to talk about Rivers Hoopers, so people will know that, look, we still have people who play basketball in Nigeria. So shout out to Rivers Hoopers for keeping that part of our sports, you know, live, active. And then, of course, the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Yeah.
People call it a friendly game, but it's not, because I had an extended conversation with Coach Eric Sekoshel, and he said this is part of the identity structure that he wants to give to the team, you know, and that's why he's taking this one seriously. It's going to be played at the Luzhniki Stadium. That's a massive stadium. I was right there when I covered the 2018 FIFA World Cup, you know. So it will be good for the Super Eagles to find some expression, take what we saw at the Unity Cup in London a step further. I like the buzz in camp. I like the fact that Coach Eric Shell has brought in some new faces. I don't want to say still building, because our football is in a stage where we shouldn't be building at this stage. But, you know, putting in those and closing those holes where we know that is making us ask questions, Cecilia. So let's wish them all the best tomorrow against Russia.
Okay, wishing them all the best. We know how hard it's going to be for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, because Russia, they've been on a winning streak. They won 8 games in a row. The last friendly they played was against Zambia. It ended 5-0, of course, in favor of Russia. So since 2022, when they invaded Ukraine and UEFA and FIFA banned them from playing competitive football, they've resorted to playing friendly games to actually help their team keep in shape. And they've been telling everyone who cares to listen, that whenever that ban is lifted, they will be ready to face the world as if they never left, and that's why they are playing these series of friendlies against African nations, Asian countries, and they've been doing that consistently. And of course, one man you need to listen to tonight that will be talking more about this happens to be the captain of the team, William Troost-Ekong. They had a press conference earlier today, and we've got it for you.
We're very much looking forward to the game tomorrow. I don't know too much about the Russian team now. We see that there's been also some changes since I last seen the team before. However, we have watched a lot of video in the last few days to understand how the team plays, how they've prepared against other friendly games that they've had here in the last year. So, yeah, we take the team very serious. Of course, they have an outstanding record here with the amount of goals they've scored, yet to concede a goal. And yeah, we want to make the difference about that tomorrow. So we're very much looking forward to the game. And we prepare as much as we can in our own way, because also we are here to understand our playing style under the new coach. We have a lot of new faces in the team, and we have to continue to build for our own project, which is the AFCON at the end of the year and to qualify for the World Cup. We have a clear idea that we are still working on from the coach. He only started working with us from the start of the year, so this is another opportunity to work on those progressive playing styles that we have ourselves, and also, yeah, with the new players that we have, because we've changed some of the squads, and it will continue to be so. So for some of the players, it's the first time they're here with us, so they also need to understand what the coach expects. And just from Russia in the big lines, we've seen a team that plays 4-3-3. They try to press high. I think the teams that they played against, they intimidated them because they scored a lot of goals and they had a lot of possession.
A lot of goals, lots of possession. So Super Eagles, we have a lot to deal with on Friday night when they face Russia. Now let's just take a look at this. Just details of the game, international friendly taking place on Friday, Russia and Nigeria. And as I mentioned earlier, the Luzhniki Stadium, that's where it's taking place in Moscow. Time is 8 p.m. their time, but it's going to be 6 p.m. Nigerian time. So that's the details of that game. So let's get ready and see what the Super Eagles can do. Austin, you heard William Troost-Ekong saying that this is part of the build-up to the World Cup qualifiers. They're facing Rwanda in September. And we know that's a bit, kind of dicey. I mean, I was reading updates on the countries that have qualified for the World Cup. And Uzbekistan, for the first time, they are going to the World Cup. And the Super Eagles are in danger of missing out on that. But then you heard from Troost-Ekong, this will be a fantastic build-up. And the blend of local players they're having and also the other players that have been there before. So it's a good blend. And you said the coach, they're not building. But hey, with the new teams and the new players we have, that shows there's a building there. All right?
Yeah, that's what I was also trying to say before we listen to William Troost-Ekong. Our football is in a state where we cannot experiment, unfortunately. Unfortunately, we just need to play results-oriented football, So I like the vibes. I like what Troost-Ekong said. They're not in Russia for tourist attraction. They've monitored the Russian team. I like the level of consistency that we've seen from when they played Rwanda. These players, they know now that anytime they step out with the with the Nigerian colors, that we just want to see them win, because they know now that everybody just expects the Super Eagles to win when they're playing football for the country. So we can only give them, all the support that they deserve, and then hope that whatever Coach Eric Shell is doing with the team, it comes to fruition. I'm sure a lot of persons would have questioned, why are you bringing new people? But hey, we saw young Benjamin Frederick do what he did against Jamaica in the Unity Cup final, and everyone started saying, oh, this is good. I remember speaking to the coach, and he said, we must protect him. Now, I see Olusegun Olakunle plays his football in Russia, but before then, where was this guy? He was a young footballer in Nigeria. I think he was found from the MPFL under 15 promises, and it's good to see now. That's a good way for us to have a peep into the future, but he must know the core of his team. Yes, people will say, okay, it's Victor Osimhen that will start up front. Ademola Lookman will also be there. But he's got so much. You've got a pool of players that you can actually, look up to. There is Siri Desas, who did so well at the Unity Cup. Alimi Sikiru made a good impression of himself.
Yeah.
Sadiq Ismail wasn't bad at the Unity Cup. I spoke to some players and they said Sadiq actually shone like a million stars. So those are some positives that we can take out of this, but I don't want to hear building. No, my spirit man wouldn't take it. Mr. Foge is the media officer of the Super Eagles. He joins us live. He's right there with the team in Moscow. It's good evening in London, Promise. Welcome to Sports Tonight.
It's good evening as well here in Moscow, because Moscow is, I think, +2 GMT.
Yeah.
It's about, let me confirm the time now. It's about past 11.
That's right. It should be 11:10 right where you are. So right after this conversation, I'll just say good night to you. Let's get into it. I promise. I was with you right there with the team in London when they were here, and we saw a lot of positives. How important is it for Eric Schell and this team to continue with that positivity?
Well, Eric Schell is a positive-minded manager. He's been able to breathe that positivity to the players. At team meetings with the players, with the officials, he oozes so much positivity. Eric Schell will tell you he wants to win the World Cup. That's how positive of a man he is. Yes, and I mean, who says that cannot happen?
It's possible.
Morocco got to the semi-finals of the World Cup. Remember, Ghana also did something very similar in South Africa 2010. This one man who is looking at the brighter side of life with this crop of players. Eric Schell believes he's working with a set of players who are top quality, who are world class. He believes he's working with a set of players who can give him a result and deliver trophies. He believes he's working with a national team that's got a lot of promises. And I heard you talking about the level of competitiveness in the Super Eagles today, because for every department on the pitch, we've got so many options, and he's still bringing in new players, new faces that can compete for shirts in every position. And that's just to tell you that the French Malian is heading towards a direction that Nigerians should be proud of.
I promise some of the so-called big players have joined the team that executed the Unity Cup assignment in London. What has that done to the camp?
Well, don't call them so-called big players, Austin. Every player in the Super Eagles squad is a big player. As far as you're called up to the national team of Nigeria, the biggest black nation in the world, you're a big player. The likes of Benjamin Fredericks, I was having a conversation with him earlier today, and I said, Benjamin, do you know you're not a big player? And he smiled. This is the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And when you have the opportunity to train with the team, to be a part of the fold, you're a big player. Maybe you want to say the established names, under Coach Eric Schell, one thing which has been very, very, very clear is that every player is on the same level. Whether you play in Germany, whether you play in Afghanistan, whether you play in Brazil, whether you play in the MPFL, he looks at you through same lens. At the Unity Cup, we saw a couple of MPFL players, in action. You talked about Sadiq earlier. You talked about Sikiru Alimi giving a good account of himself. You talked about the 21-year-old Brentford player who was given a starting berth in that very important game against Jamaica. It was the final of the Unity Cup, and he threw in a 21-year-old player who shone like a million stars. So under this manager, every player has a right. Every player has a say. Every player is as important as the other. And so camp is calm. Everyone is working towards ensuring that we give a very good account of ourselves against Russia tomorrow. The Russians have played a couple of African teams in recent times, and they've won. They defeated a number of African teams in recent times, and they won with very fine margin. They are looking to do the same tomorrow, but of course, that's not going to happen because this is a Super Eagles.
Yeah, it's the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and of course, we know how we are coming from the backs of just winning a trophy. I mean, you can call it Eric Shell first trophy for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Now, what are the Russians saying? I know you must have heard from the streets because we don't have the big players they could have expected. I'm using the word big because, yes, these stars are big. Victor Osimhen is not there. Ademola Lookman is not there. These are African players of the year, the last one and the reigning one. You also have Samuel Chukwueze is not there. So these are stars, even Kelechi Iheanacho, these are stars that they are used to. But these stars would not be there. How are they taking it? What are you hearing?
Yes, the average Russian fan would have been looking forward to seeing some of these established names you just mentioned. Everyone wants to see Victor Osimhen. Everyone wants to see Ademola Lookman. Everyone wants to see those top names you just mentioned. But hey, this is Nigeria. And so for every player that will be given a shirt tomorrow, he's a Nigerian and I mean a member of the Super Eagles. I'm not sure the expectations have cut down. Irrespective of the absence of these guys, they know that Nigeria would present a very decent squad. Trust Ekong, the captain, a very true leader, is still very much in the fold. Franco Yeka is here. A number of the established players are here. Rafael, and I mean, name them from the bench to midfield to attack. Tolu Arokodare, the best African player in Belgium, is here. I mean, they also know these guys, you know. I mean, when we came back from training this evening, we met a plethora of Russian fans who came in with paintings of our players. You know, they've been coming around the camp and they've known the players who are available. They went back to do paintings of the players who are here and came to present it to them on arrival from training this evening. I mean, that's to tell you that the fans, maybe they have adjusted their expectations. Okay, these are the guys here. These are also superstars. These are representatives of Nigeria. These are the Super Eagles of Nigeria. They went back, they did hand-drawn paintings of these guys and came to present it to them. They are excited that Nigeria is in town and they can't wait for kickoff tomorrow.
You're sure we're going to have a full stadium because that's 73,000 capacity stadium.
The Luzhniki Stadium hosted the finals of the World Cup in 2018. You know, it's in the heart of Moscow. Moscow is about the biggest city in Russia. You know, the Nigerian ambassador to Russia visited the Super Eagles this morning, spoke to the boys and assured them that Nigerians living in Moscow and its surroundings will be, reached out to ensure that we have a handful of fans at the stadium tomorrow to support the Super Eagles. But hey, we know that 90% of the fans at the stadium tomorrow will be Russians cheering their team. But one thing I have noted thus far is this passionate love for the Nigerian team. You know, these Russian fans are so in love with Nigeria. I mean, when I came to cover the World Cup in 2018, I didn't feel this kind of love from the Russians. You know, I was having this conversation with a colleague yesterday, and I said, when I covered the World Cup in Russia 2018, I mean, was I at the wrong place at the right time?
It's Super Eagles are in town. That's the difference.
The affection from the Russians have been very, very contagious. You know, they love our players, they love our team. They even know their names. They know their names. Victor Osimhen is not here. Ademola Lookman is not here. The players we have here, they know all their names. And each time we go to training, you hear them chanting their names.
All right, I promise, okay, we want to thank you so much for joining us tonight on the show. And we wish Super Eagles all the best. The winning streak they started in London, I hope they take it to Moscow and they are able to get a resounding result. Russia needs to be beaten. I mean, they've not been beaten in 8 matches. Thank you.
We'll give them a taste of their own pills tomorrow.
All right. Hopefully. I mean, you actually have to avenge Zambia. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Right, we'll go on a break. When we come back, we'll be talking about the Flamingos. They've been grouped in a very tight group. You have Canada, France in that group. Stay with us. Welcome back. Bolu Omoni joins us now on the show. Bolu, hi. Good evening.
Well, good evening, Cecilia. Good to see you, even though from a distance.
Great to see you too. Super Eagles of Nigeria, a quick one. They're playing Russia tomorrow, part of a build-up to the preparations for those World Cup qualifiers they're trying to win to see if they can get a ticket to the World Cup. Russia on Friday. Russia unbeaten so far since they started their friendly, since they are banned from international football. What can the Super Eagles do against them on Friday night? You think we have the team to actually beat them? Yeah.
Well, first off, Nigerians need to understand it's a friendly game. I've heard people talk about they must win, they must. Zambia were thrashed 5-0 the last time they played against Russia in March. But I like one thing HL did during the Unity Cup games. He gave players new opportunities. NPFL players, 3 of them started that game. So I like that angle. For the Russia game, some of the key players are pulled out due to different reasons. It means he's going to try out other players. But what he has said before now was, focus more on the World Cup qualifiers, which is the challenge. I like that they are playing this game. Russia is at least maybe not in the mood of Brazil and the likes, but we know what Russia did when they hosted the World Cup. So they are not minnows. So it's going to help the players with mentality, irrespective of the result. A win is always important, yes. But beyond the win, how they perform in this game could also help with team bonding, synergy, and also hopefully they get positive results. If they can't win, at least maybe a draw. But beyond win, I would love to see how the team will perform. We saw a few glimpses of improvements in the 2 matches. We saw a few players, the likes of Ben Frederick. We saw Felix Agu as well. So I would love to see a few other players improve and show themselves in this game. It's a friendly. It's always an opportunity to try out new things.
Try out new teams. I know Austin keeps saying we're not building, but we're just having a team. All right, we'll leave the Super Eagles for now and quickly talk about the Flamingos. I'm talking about the FIFA Under 17 Women's World Cup. Austin, you're smiling, right?
With me at this under 17 level, you guys try to remind me sometimes that it is competitive, but I'm the guy who is saying, no, look, use it to build a structure, you know. And
I agree with you on this one. It's on that 20,
exactly,
I usually don't agree.
With me on that 20 also.
No, I won't agree with you on that 20. On the 17, I agree with you.
It is from... Okay, let's do it like this.
Okay.
When you put together young girls from under 13, if you have a structure at under 15 level, you are looking at those girls going from 13 to 15, right?
Yes.
They go from 15, another 2-year program to 17. They go from 17 to 20. They show promise. You know that they cannot send Assistant Oshoala and the rest out of the team. You keep growing with them to under 20. That's what South Africa did. Look at South Africa today. That's what Morocco is doing.
That's what Nigeria has been doing. The difference is
long-term planning, Cecilia.
The difference is we don't invest, but that's what we've been doing. If you check Oshoala, you just mentioned Francisca Odega, Rashida Ajibade, they played under 17. You know, we've always have that, movement. And check the game they played in Abeokuta. You also have those from the under 20 and also part of the squad. Tosin Dimei was the captain of the under 20, in Costa Rica in 2022, and now she's with, a strong back, when it comes to the Super Falcons. So that's what the difference is. They built a structure, but we don't have one. I agree with you on that. But hey, let's quickly take a look at the draw for the FIFA Under 17 Women's World Cup taking place in Morocco later in the year. Yes, Morocco seems to be the mecca of football now. Yes, we start from Group A. Group A, that's where you have Morocco and Brazil. You also have Italy there and Costa Rica completing Group A. In Group B, you have Korea DPR, Mexico, Cameroon, and the Netherlands. So in this group, let's go to Group C. Group C, let's go to Group C quickly if we have that. Group C, you have USA, Ecuador, China, and Norway. And Group D, that's where you have Nigeria, Canada, France, and Samoa. Samoa making their debut. France won it in 2012. Canada, their best finish have been 4th place. And of course, Nigeria, 3rd place have been their best finish, and that was in India. So Bolu, let me come to you here. I mean, Austin has mentioned it is developmental, and that's how we'll always see it. But if you take a look at the way the Flamingos, you know, all through the years, what we've been able to do, the progression, do you think they can actually get out of the group before we go to other groups?
Well, Flamingos have a similar story to the Super Falcons. They reign and rule the African scene without stress. Even without preparation, they always do well on the African scene. But it's the worst stage where there's a bit of a block. Again, everyone knows this competition is supposed to be for developmental. But we know, you and I, Austin, everyone knows the truth that almost every generation of under-17 that don't succeed in quotes, most of the time we abandon them. The Oshoalas and Ajibades we speak about, most of them were 1-2 from each generation. I like the transition now from our previous under-20. Many of them are getting into Super Falcons. That's the story that it's meant to be. So for here, people are looking at the Canadian national team, the Olympic winner and all. People are looking at the French national team. They are forgetting this is under-17. The only thing that separates us is they have a plan, they have a structure, we don't. But they don't have the talent we have at this stage. So I'm not scared about them progressing. If they don't qualify first and second, at all, they should make one of the third best places. So I'm not scared about them qualifying. I think the whipping boys, without doubt, is going to be Samoa. So at least pick a good win against Samoa, then be positive against France and Canada, and they'll qualify for the round of 16.
I like that. Samoa making their debut. I hope they don't pack all the goals and go back. All right, let's take a look at other group. You have Group E and also Group F. Quickly, we'll take a look at these other group. You have Spain here. Spain, they're doing a wonderful thing when it comes to football. Colombia, Korea Republic, and Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire will not be smiling in this group. And in Group F, that's where you have Japan, New Zealand, Zambia, and Paraguay completing that. So, Austin, you want to chip in something concerning the girls? If they can. Yeah. Okay.
And I like this team so much because I understand where, you know, most of the girls are coming from. I also, you know, have a good relationship with Coach Bankole Olowokere. He was part of the Channels Kids Cup. I always say that he's part of our big win, you know, and I speak to him a lot about his vision, his goals for this team, and I like the consistency. You see what we're talking about? The NFF, they've tried to keep, you see, if you look at the like of Coach Bankole, Coach Christopher Danjuma, let's see if we can keep Justin Magudu also in the mix. See what Moses Azuku is doing with Edo Queens. That consistency matters. Just imagine if they had used Coach Bankole for 1 year after the World Cup, you say goodbye, go. You know, another person will come with a different philosophy, with a different scouting method, but he knows the girls. And most of them were product of the league. Cecilia, you know, doing so well women's football, we can actually see that there is a progression plan in place up to the Super Falcons. But it's missing with the men, and that's why we even struggle to qualify for, you know, international tournaments. I want to wish them all the best. At this stage, look, you can't come out and say one country is doing well, because most of the countries that you even say they are doing so well at this level is because of the investment. Because the talent is raw at this level. The passion is raw. They just want to express themselves with football. So best wishes to the Flamingos. I'm super confident they will make us proud.
Super confidence they will make us proud. That's what we are believing, and see if they can go a step further from what they did in India. They would definitely want to have that. Let's listen to FIFA President Gianni Infantino talking about the next, you know, country that will be hosting the world. The next one is really soon, but you know the country that is also hosting the next one. Let's listen to him talking about the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup and also the growth of women's football.
Dear football friends, welcome and thank you for being part of the draw for the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup 2025, which will take place here in beautiful Morocco from 17th of October to 8th of November. This tournament represents a true milestone for women's football, as for the first time in the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup history, 24 teams will participate, representing all 6 confederations, including Samoa from Oceania appearing in their first ever FIFA tournament. At FIFA, We want to give young talents the very best opportunity to perform and compete against each other on the global stage. And that is exactly what the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup is. Not only that, but in another piece of history, Morocco will become the first African nation to host a FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup. Mabrouk, Président Fawzi Lekja, bravo et merci beaucoup. Football in Morocco has gone from strength to strength in recent years, and FIFA wants to build on that success. And for it to shine not only here, but across the African continent, throughout the Arab world and beyond, looking towards the FIFA World Cup 2030, co-hosted, of course, by Morocco. This will be the first of 5 successive FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cups to be staged in the country, bringing joy and happiness to millions of girls and boys, inspiring future generations and uniting the world. Thank you for being here. Good luck to everyone involved in the draw. See you, of course, at the finals. All the best. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
That's Gianni Infantino just laying his all bare. They host Morocco, now Mecca of football, as I mentioned earlier. They're hosting the next edition in 2029. So we know the host. Every year it will be played. All right, we'll leave that and quickly go to basketball. Yes, it's basketball in Nigeria, but it's not happening in Nigeria. As Austin mentioned in his intro, it's happening in South Africa. So when we talk about Basketball Africa League, that's when you know, yes, we are supposed to be playing basketball in Nigeria. Boy, it's June now, and since January, we've not had a league. I know November, December, or we'll have, the one within Phase 1, Phase 2, 1 week or 2 weeks, and then we're done. You select the ones that represent Nigeria on the continent. Okay, Basketball Africa League, it's going to be starting on Saturday for Rivers Hoopers. So just give you details of the game they will be playing on Saturday, Season 5 in South Africa. And of course, it's USM of Tunisia and Rivers Hoopers. It's going to be 7 p.m. Nigerian time, of course, Sunbet Arena in Pretoria. That's where it's taking place. So here's the players, and the Rivers Hoopers are hoping to go a step further of what they did the last time when they finished 3rd in all. And of course, this is what it was like, how they finished in the Kalahari Conference earlier this year. For Al Ittihad, Alexandria of Egypt, in the games they played, it was 6. They won 6, and they didn't lose any. And of course, the difference was 90 and 100% won. Rivers Hoopers finished second, 66% won. It was the win, of course. You saw the games they played, and of course, the losses, they lost 2. For Union de Rabat of Morocco, and this is how they also finished. They had a 33%. Stade Malien, of course, was the team that finished like nobody expected this to happen to them. But this was how it ended for them. And of course, they lost all games that they played, and you saw how many points. The difference was really much. Of course, the percentage was 0. So, Bolu, for Rivers Hoopers, you think they can go a step further than what they did? The coach has been talking about how he has built on defense, bringing in 2 outstanding players, one from the French league, the other from Rwanda, to kind of solidify what they already had in the first group stage.
Well, I like that mindset. Most of the time, any competition you go for, you always want to do a step further. Oh, if I finish 3rd, let me go 2nd or at least win it. Even the guys that win always want to maintain that level. That's why the Tigers still want to make it 5 on the bounce. It's going to be hard for them, but remember, they are ranked the 4th best team on the continent. Many didn't even give them a chance at the Kalahari Conference. They finished 2nd, lost only to the best team on the continent, Al Ittihad. So I think they will still do well this time around, but it's not just saying it, it's showing it. And I like the fighting spirit of the players. I like their response. I like what the coach is saying. In terms of their words and preparation, it seems like they are ready. But can they do it on the course? I think they can. I believe in Rivers Hoopers. I think they'll get to the semi-final. That's where the bit of scare would be. Will they win the semi-final to battle for either first or second? But whichever way, I'm behind the River Supers. But you can't take away preparation and competitiveness from your home front. A team that's not doing regular competition at home cannot be compared to those that are playing consecutive football, consecutive basketball. That's the bit of worry I have for them. But overall, I'm confident that they should do enough to have a good start on Saturday. Then from then on, we'll know how to judge them. I really wish they can go at least a step further than they did the last time. It means qualify for the finale and probably even win. Who says they can't get through? But at least a step at a time. All the best to River Supers, but they have to start very well in the opening game on Saturday.
Yeah, Austin, you mentioned at that time, when they were playing in the Kalahari Conference, before they qualified, that the coach, he knows what to do, and usually he will just try as much as possible to fix the loopholes. He has done it again, bringing in Ahmed Doumbia, a defensive-minded player from the French league, and Chinga Agaba, a Nigerian who plays in Rwanda. Brought in these two players to actually help in the defensive aspect of the Rivers Hoopers.
That's what Coach Odaudu can do, just consolidate on what we saw, from the Kalahari conference, remember they started so well, and then at some point it became a topsy-turvy ride, but they were able to, finish strongly to finish second. But the playoffs is a different business entirely, and you could tell that there were some unforced errors here and there. I think that's what he's trying to avoid with these defensive players that are in the mix. But Cecilia, my views about basketball in Nigeria. It's such a shame, and we won't get tired of calling out people, because I want to hear what the MBBF is doing to support Rivers Hoopers. I want to hear what the Rivers State government, they are really doing to support Rivers Hoopers. For instance, Channels Television, we're international. People are watching this all over the world. Look at where they are training. You see the problem, infrastructure, but these guys, they're just doing their bit and giving us talent. Now, when you go to the playoffs and you are facing the likes of UCM, of Tunisia, top basketball teams all over Africa that have done so well to invest and, keep players in fine shape, that's the little thing that is missing with Rivers Hoopers. For them, it's just talent that is doing it. Cecilia, be sincere. If you come and you hear that they didn't win a game, how disappointed will you be? You wouldn't be.
No, usually I'm not. Yeah.
Oh, fine, good, they won. We wish them all the best. But if they don't win, we know because the problems are there, and people are ignoring it. And until a problem is solved, it will remain a problem.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, we all know that what the coach has been doing. That's why he usually gets the talent elsewhere, to add to the ones he's got here who are really not so active because the league is not active. Right, we'll leave basketball and go to tennis straight up. Bolu, are you surprised by Arena Sabalenka and Coco Gauff in the final? Are you surprised? Let's start off with them.
Yes, I am. I thought because Beyonce could make it fourth straight to Roland Garros win and fight for a revenge against Arena Sabalenka. She lost the first set, fought back in the second. And from that third one, it's supposed to be a battle in the third set, but it felt so easy. So smooth for Arena Sabalenka. It was a statement win for her to tell everyone, I am the #1. I'm the best player in women's tennis right now. And beating the defending champions at Roland Garros just shows that she is the best. Coco Gauff definitely wasn't surprised. The wild card ranked 361. Getting to the semi-final alone was a win for Louise Boyson. I think she knows, or probably in her mind, okay, whatever happens from here, I've done enough. Congratulations to Louise. I think she's been a success story already. But Coco Gauff and Sabalenka is going to be a very, very tough battle in the final on Saturday.
It is really, because for Sabalenka to have snapped that 26 matches unbeaten run, that's how she has been running. Talking about Iga Swiatek, 3 times defending champion, so someone needed to end it so it doesn't go to a 4th one. And Austin, tennis is always great, especially when we talk about Coco Gauff at 21. She has won a Grand Slam before, playing against this 20-year-old wild card, making history in France. Well, hey, she silenced the crowd, literally. It took her 69 minutes to leave the court and just ensure that, yes, she is, the king. Oh, okay, I would say queen right now, because we'll have to wait for the final on Saturday. What just happened, the way she had to silence the crowd, because if you watch that game live, I don't know how she was able to keep her nerves to actually finish it off 6-1 and 6-2. That was a fantastic victory for Coco Gauff.
It was, but shout out to this young wild card from France, Lois Boissoin, and that's something about a fantastic win. People will forget that she was a wild card, you know, and she went all the way. But Coco, let's give a shout out to her and her consistency. We've watched her grow. She's showing that, look, she can compete at a big stage. But Cecilia, she's now going against a fantastic Arena who is looking for a maiden French Open title, you know. So it's going to be really tough. And look, I always say it with women's tennis, if you beat Iga Swiatek, you're as good as going to win the title. You know, I've always said. You know, so it's going to be really tough, you know, for Coco. Yeah, there is, but look at the breathtaking tennis that Arena played. You know, that's why look, you're as good as your last in sport. If you put the two opponents that the finalists passed through, you want to easily give it to Sabalenka. You know, she defeated, respected, solely Iga Swiatek, you know, but no disrespect to the French wildcard who did so well, and Coco showing that she can hold her own. It's going to give us an interesting, you know, final. Let's quickly take a look at the men's semi-final on Friday. We're going to be having Lorenzo Musetti taking on Carlos Alcaraz, and then the world number 1 Yannick Sinner against Novak Djokovic. This could have been a perfect final, but it's happening in the semi-final. Your thoughts quickly on this one, Bolo, before we go. We just have like 30 seconds to leave here. Djokovic go out there and prove. He said that the Gen Zs have nothing on him, you know, so we'll wait to see, you know, what that game against with Yannick Sinner will give us. Let me quickly tell you a quick story as what's happening at that UEFA Nations League. Cecilia, we came back from the second half. For the second half, in the 54th minute, Lamine Yamal scored for Spain. It became 3-0. In the 55th minute, 2 minutes, Pedri made it 4-0. Lamine Yamal scored again to make it 5. Now, at that time, it was 5-0. Now it is Spain 5, France 3. So the French team, they are fighting. Can they come back? It's now in the 87th minute. I pray that something gets, you know, to happen. So we'll come to talk about it tomorrow. That's the show. In London, I'm Austin Okonakwan. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now. Bolo Money, it was nice doing this with you, you know, via Zoom, not in the studio.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure being here, either physically or virtually.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Omogbe. Have a good night's rest.